The effectiveness of an organization will be determined by the leadership principles that are used in that organization. To be a good leader requires several things. First of all, you must prove that you can be a good follower, a team player. As a supervisor, you oversee your people to evaluate their performance and identify their individual strengths and weaknesses. Also, provide training to address those weak areas and set and communicate standards that the organization is striving to set. Be a facilitator, someone who is there to help overcome each and every obstacle. Be a communicator so you know what those obstacles are. Have everyone in touch with everyone else. Anyone who cannot be a good follower is unlikely to be given a chance to become a leader. When I was an instructor on ASICs intruder electronic systems for the Navy, I shared the following information with each class that I taught. Number one, 10% of workers will not work unless they are closely supervised. That means made to work. 80% of the workers will do what they are told to do, but little else. And the top 10% will do what they are told to do, and then identify other jobs that need to be done and do them without being told. Each group of people end up doing about the same amount of work, but the top 10% will be recommended for advancement before the others. The real difference is the attitude of each group. The top 10% are seen as those who are a productive part of the team. They act like they care about the organization and reaching its goals. They will stand out head and shoulders above their peers and be given the chance to handle greater responsibilities. In any organization, the bottom line is getting the job done, whatever that might be. If done efficiently, the company will be successful. In order to do that, those that do the work must know how to do it correctly the first time. Training is necessary for any job, as we are not born with the needed skills. The responsibility of the supervisor is to provide the needed training and then supervises people to determine where the training is deficient so the deficiency can be corrected. And that process is repeated as often as necessary until everyone in the organization knows their job and can do it well. The people that work with us are a valuable asset, and they need to realize that. As an illustration, in 1979, Commander Joseph Brewer was the commanding officer of the Navy's attack squadron, VA-65. The squadron was to be deployed to the Indian Ocean for 8 months to provide support during the Iran hostage situation. Maintaining the squadron's aircraft in top condition was critical to the success of that mission. To assure the staff was able to complete the required maintenance, Commander Brewer directed each shop to hold meaningful training each Thursday morning for 2 hours. Each shop supervisor was to focus on his shop's specific area of responsibility. Well, the maintenance chief decided to disregard the commander's orders and ordered some men out to work on some down gripes, some broken equipment during that training time. The commander learned of this and talked to the maintenance chief, and the training resumed. Commander Brewer supervised his squadron well. He identified a need, set and communicated the standards, evaluated the implementation of those standards, and implemented corrective action where needed. The cruise itself was a tough one. 8 months and only 5 days of liberty, 5 days off. It set a record for a peacetime deployment length that lasted for several years. However, the training and supervision of the squadron paid great dividends. The squadron set records for aircraft availability and hours flown. It also flew accident-free. As a result of the noteworthy performance, VA-65 was awarded the Fleet Admiral McCluskey Award for being the best attack squadron in the United States Navy. Commander Joe Brewer's excellent leadership was rewarded. He later held positions of Carrier Air Wing Commander, Commandant of the Naval Academy, Commander, U.S. Pacific Command, and U.S. Ambassador to China. Late in 1980, Commander Brewer was transferred, and the executive officer became the commanding officer. Under his leadership, the squadron's performance began to drop off. The squadron began to lose its trained personnel as they were transferred to shore duty commands, and the new crew members did not receive the level of training they needed as the weekly training had been discontinued. It was decided that the time could not be spared. As productivity began to drop, the crew was required to work longer hours and weekends. The morale and performance continued to also fall. The squadron became what it was before the training took place, an average squadron, working harder instead of smarter. The outstanding performance of our squadron was a result of excellent leadership. An ordinary group of men were trained, supervised, and motivated to reach their potential. During that cruise, I was promoted to Chief Petty Officer. One of the older chiefs came to me and advised me to remember that I was to be a facilitator, not a boss. He said, make it possible for the men under me to perform at their best by making sure they have all the training, tools, and supervision they need to do a good job. Any organization consists of regular people, and the quality of the group will depend upon the quality of leadership. A boss will drive people to accomplish the work, but a leader will show them how to be successful. I have worked for many bosses and never enjoyed it. I did enjoy working for leaders because they brought out the best in me. They treated me with respect and value, and I was glad to give it back. So if you have the opportunity for leadership, it's up to you to decide to be a boss or a facilitator. Remember that your organization will not rise higher than the training that you provide and maintain. Another lesson learned during that cruise was about communication. After all the records were set, all of the shop chiefs were getting letters of commendation for their fine work, except for myself. I was concerned, so I asked why, and the answer was that the shop had not maintained certain electronic warfare systems at the desired level. I informed them that I had repaired the systems as fast as the supply system made them available, and that I had informed the maintenance chief of the lack of availability of the replacement parts. We had replaced 219 units, which weighed 215 pounds each, and took 6 man-hours to remove, install, and do a full check of the system. We had worked very hard, but no one knew it because the maintenance chief did not inform the maintenance officer of the problem, and no one asked me about it either. Later on, the maintenance officer ran into me in the hangar and asked me why I didn't go to him with the problem. And my answer to him was, "You are a hard man to talk to." He just smiled and walked away. It was also not my place to jump the chain of command. Later on, I did get a letter of commendation, but the maintenance chief did not. As a leader, I am aware of the need for good communication up and down the organization. I shouldn't be making choices on scanty information. I need to stay in touch with everyone to make sure I am meeting the needs of the organization. That means I can't be the man that is hard to talk to. These leadership principles are really Christian principles. It's part of the command to love your neighbor as yourself, and to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So treat people with value and respect. It's the right thing to do.